Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. The state of Moira is pretty weird right now, I would say, but I think we're about to go into a meta where she might be the best support option for a multitude of reasons. Some are more obvious than others. And it's bizarre considering that we went into the 222 role lock patch on the PTR. Moira had the new fade ability that allowed her to get out of basically everything. Blizzard deemed it too strong, they reverted that change, and Moira was looking to go into the game as the worst support according to a few of the pros and top 500 players. Now, I think we might be going into an area where she's one of the best. We don't have overbuff stats yet, so it's hard to say her popularity and pick rate at the moment, and Overwatch League has played a patch behind without Sigma, but even then, Moira's pick rate is still quite high according to Omnit Meta. Seeing as we just mentioned the Overwatch League, I figured now was a really good time to shout out the playoffs which are starting this week. Technically, it's the play-in bracket that starts on Friday with the teams that you're seeing on screen. This is the business end of the season. These are the really good games because it's all elimination brackets, no real second chances for a lot of these teams, everything to play for their final opportunity. But another key reason why I wanted to mention this is that Sigma will be playable in the Overwatch League throughout the season playoffs, including the play-in tournament starting this week. And he's one of the main reasons why Moira has become as strong as she is. We don't really need to go over double barrier too much in this video. You understand why it's strong and why it's so obnoxious. I used this example in a previous video from an Ana perspective, but I wanted to show it off again here. As an Ana player, you're looking onto the point, Sigma just decides no. There's no way for Ana to be able to shoot through that, she really struggles there, and this is a big problem to a lot of the supports in the game currently. This is made even worse when Sigma is paired up with an Orisa. Not only do they have two barriers that they could throw out quite a lot, with a lot of barrier health each, but where Sigma and Orisa can place their barriers is basically up to them. For Winston, he has to be by the barrier as he places it around him, and Reinhardt's obviously attached to his barrier, he can't put it out too far. Whereas Orisa and Sigma can fire their shields out, and if they misplace them, they just wait for them to come back online. For Sigma, that is near on instantly. And so they have this dynamic shield playstyle, being able to control and dictate a point, controlling space by using the barriers to block off certain exits or entrances. Another reason why May's been played a lot, being able to dictate space by using abilities that cover damage or healing coming onto an area. And a lot of the support heroes like to be stationary, so if a Sigma or Orisa is wise to this, they can usher you out of situations. And that's exactly where Moira is the strongest. Double barrier forces a team to be very dynamic because of where the barriers are placed. Moira is the most dynamic healer. She's very quick on her feet, can easily move around with her fade, and can heal people close to her as well as a little further away with her orbs, which don't get stopped at all by the barriers. Unlike the UK after Brexit, Moira has freedom of movement. So that's one of the reasons why I do like playing Moira in this meta and why her pick rate may start to go up incrementally. But another reason, I kind of alluded to it before, is the damage orbs. We did a video quite a while ago with Karq talking about the best supports into role lock, but he actually commented about a week ago saying that his opinions have changed ever since he's had experience in this meta. He says that Moira is incredibly strong, the reason being with less D.Va, damage orbs from Moira is almost a guaranteed 10 to 50% ult charge if you just fire it at the enemy off cooldown. It passes through everything and it won't ever get eaten. There is a problem with that, and that's Sigma's kinetic grasp. He can eat your orb, but that is a big cooldown that Sigma's using for an ability that you can throw out willy-nilly, to be honest. So if you can force him to use that, that's actually not a bad thing at all, in comparison to D.Va that could use defense matrix consistently. He also mentioned that the meta slowed down with the shield tanks, so you get a lot of value healing and keeping him alive, and you can literally build her ult in a minute. Coalescence is strong against shield tanks because it pierces through everything and is reliable at breaking an enemy supercharger, for example. So that mixes in a lot of the different things that I've said. You have the dynamic freedom of movement that stops you from being bullied by barriers. You can heal through barriers with coalescence and your orbs, and you can farm your ultimate very quickly because you could just throw out damage orbs and get a lot of effective use from an ability that you have very often. Another great reason, in competitive at least, to be playing her, the room for error. When the DPS at the moment being most popular are Mei, Reaper and Doomfist, Doomfist especially has risen up quite a lot in pick rate. Like in the last 10 competitive games I've had, I think 6 have had a Doomfist. And as a support player, like a Zenyatta or an Ana for example, there's very little that you can do if a Doomfist decides that it's his turn to sit on your head. For Moira though, fading away is the best choice. If you hear the Doomfist wind-up noise, fade out. If Mei starts to freeze you, you can fade out. If Reaper comes out of nowhere and you didn't expect him, you can get out of there fairly easily. All of the other supports do struggle. Even Baptiste with the invulnerability field does struggle against Doomfist, because Doomfist can just punch you out of the field entirely. So out of all of the supports, I'd say Moira's up there with survivability alongside Lucio when it comes to these heroes. And that goes over to the final point, the whole mini goats composition that we've been speaking about quite a lot. Not really going to harp on about it too much in this video, but we have compared mini goats to the original goats comp way back when. And most of you will remember that in the original goats comp, Moira was the choice pick. For the supports it was Lucio for the speed boost, Brigitte because, you know, Brigitte, and then Moira for the healing output and the coalescences that she could get out. Over time, Moira was rotated out for a Zenyatta for a much more aggressive option with Transcendence as an example. But now that we've gone into a 2-2-2 lock and the amount of healers that you can have on the team is obviously less, that amazing healing output that Moira has is never unwarranted. In triple support, there was no need to have as much healing on your team with Moira, so they switched it out for some other heroes. Now with only 2 supports, one of which most likely being Lucio, there's a lot of synergy that goes on there, and that healing output that Moira has isn't excessive. I've even found myself playing Moira in lineups that don't include a Lucio and include heroes being spread out a little bit more, and again, that isn't too much of a problem. I would say that the only time that you really want to be running Moira the most are control maps. I think that's where she's the strongest. Everything else you have a bit more room to breathe, but when you're having to scrap on an objective like that, and there's Doomfists flying at you, but most importantly, Orisa Sigma, that's where Moira really comes into her own, and she becomes, in my opinion, the best support hero to be running right now. It will be super interesting to see what the Overwatch League does this weekend with Sigma's addition, seeing where Moira's pick rate goes, as well as the other heroes, and then obviously when Overbuff updates with the latest season, we get all of those stats. It's going to be super cool, but don't miss the Overwatch League this week. Seriously, I think we're going to see some amazing stuff, both in plays and also just crazy compositions. I hope you enjoyed this. Like and subscribe if you did. Thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.